son of a bitch.
Hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with that drop kick, Marty Jannetty. Drop kick, Marty Jannetty.
Goddamn right, we're live, pal. Welcome into the latest edition of Hot Tag Wrestle Corner. I'm one half of your host. I am Rob.
I'm Clint.
Welcome into the latest edition. Enough with the niceties. Let's jump into it. So we're skipping Mount Rushmore this week in order to talk about the return of Dark Side of the Ring, Season 5, starting off with the first episode, John Tenta. So we'll get into that after we get into the news. And then after we review, do our recap of Dark Side, we'll get into the shows for this week. Let's jump into it. So starting off on the news side, first I want to get into is the AEW release. So Santana has been released. He's been granted his release, so he asked for it. As previously reported, he's been with AEW for the last 5 years. He was removed from the roster. The Wrestling Observer newsletter has reported more details on the situation, noting Santana hasn't been happy in the company for a long time. He had reportedly been wanting the singles push, but it wasn't happening. After he beat Ortiz on October 25th, he hasn't been on TV ever since. So that was well over 6 months ago. Yeah, or almost 6 months ago, I should say. So, excuse me. A little more on the situation with Santana. First name Mike. Santana's his actual name. He put out some comments on Twitter about his exit. Quote, I took a few days to reflect, and I can't tell you how truly blessed and grateful I feel. It's been 5 years full of ups and downs, but above it all, it taught me so much about myself and this business. Thank you. Thankful for the opportunity I've been given to be a part of history at the ground level. I can say that I'll forever be a part of that legacy right at day one. But, you know, there comes a time in life where you have to make decisions and take a bet on yourself. We only get one chance at this life thing, and life is about taking risks. You never know your true potential unless you really put it to work. I'm a big believer in when one door closes, a bigger one opens. I'm so excited for what the future holds for me. With that being said, I want to thank God and my father for continuing to guide me, my family for their endless support, all the fans who have backed me endlessly, no matter what, to Ortiz for the years, and AEW for the nods and the opportunity. I told you the best is yet to come.
Oh, shout out Ortiz. I thought they had didn't they have like beef between them?
That was the story. So we'll talk about it more when we get there. But Okada made his debut on AEW this week. We'll tell you more about that, like I said, when we get there. It was reported in Tokyo Sports. They had claimed that he had signed a deal with AEW that would get him $4.5 million a year over 3 years. Both PWI and the Wrestling Observer newsletter denied this. They said those numbers are inflated. They're considerably lower, but still very large all the same. So we'll see those exact numbers soon. Speaking of deals, Jim Ross, good old JR, man of the Black Hat, has a new book coming out soon. He also signed a new deal with AEW, so we got to hear his voice during Sting's farewell match, was what he was wishing for the most. It's for about a year. I think they're going to go on a year basis from now on due to his health.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure JR's okay. Part of the reason he's been off TV for a while, he has suffered a fall. And he I don't know if he cracked a hip or something. Yeah, so he just trying to take it easy, and that's everything. His recent deal had expired February 14th. Quotes on this new deal from him. Quote, we wrote a new deal. We wrote a completely new deal, no extension, new contract. It will probably be the quickest, easiest negotiations I've ever done in my 50 years in this career. It's all because of Tony Khan's commitment to me as a broadcaster. He's always been a fan of my work, which helps your cause when your boss is a fan of your work. We got a new deal. We'll be back to do more work. I assume it's going to be centered around more of the pay-per-views. We'll be adding more pay-per-views and big events. I'll be involved in some degree with those. I'm here. I'm getting better. That will work for me. And if I'm just working the pay-per-views, I'll be very happy to do that, end quote.
I feel like JR that to point to he should just only work pay-per-views. Or occasional, like, certain matches where you know you're going to get funny one-liners out of them.
On the terms of the deal, quote, I think we're down for another year. That's plenty. I'm happy with it. Tony Khan stepped up. Terms-wise, financial package-wise, everything was to my liking. I was very blessed to be working with Tony on this deal. He wanted to sign me. He got his man, and I got my company. It all worked out real well, end quote. All right, happy to hear my man back.
That's awesome.
Love that. Sammy Guevara has been suspended again. This time, this is a little confusing, but I'm going to read through it. We understood it when we were reading it off air. But Sammy Guevara has been absent from AEW television for several weeks because of he has been suspended by the company. It came after a scary incident involving Jeff Hardy in a no DQ match on the episode of Rampage from about a month ago. Hardy sustained a broken nose after taking a knee to the head during the match. Despite the injury, Hardy assured the ref that he was fine and continued. And he finished the bout. However, Hardy had not been in action ever since. Samra Sap of Fightful Select reports that the concussion protocol was not followed, which resulted in Guevara hitting the finisher on Hardy, something that was not supposed to happen. Guevara did work a match against Powerhouse Hobbs after the match with Hardy and had some and some had thought Guevara's lack of selling for Hobbs could have contributed to the suspension. It has not been confirmed. There's been no word of any disciplinary action for the referees as of yet. The duration of his suspension remains uncertain, as well as Hardy's return to the ring.
Yeah, something quick. I want to talk about that. I feel like, excuse me, the whole thing with Sammy Guevara. Yeah, I mean, with that the refs got to take responsibility for that. Like we talking about it off air. Like, you're the one that's seeing all this and everything. You should be able to pick up when like something's wrong with this guy. Like, he's not right, and you need to communicate that with Sammy.
Yep.
I think the whole thing, the not selling for Powerhouse Hobbs after the whole thing with you breaking his face and giving him concussion, on top of the past history with the comments you made about Mercedes Moné a little while ago, and then the whole
I
thing.
forgot about that one.
Then the thing with you cracked Matt Hardy when you threw the chair at him like super hard, like you got a you got a reputation for being like a bigger than you are backstage. So like, it seemed like to me he got himself. He's 24 years old, young guy. Seems like he got himself a little bit of an ego problem. Problem that he got to get that checked out real quick.
I agree.
Quick. So I don't think the whole thing with the incident with Jeff Hardy. I think it's more after the fact that like you're not selling for a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, I don't care how good you is, do the mammal, bro. You sell for him like he's throwing you around, bro. So I think that's what it is. And then on top of the whole thing, the comments he made about Mercedes Moné, the thing with Matt Hardy, and so
he got a history.
You basically you got to spend because you're a repeat offender, bro. That's what it is.
Vince McMahon completed his sale of his shares of $5.4 million of TKO stock. It was reported earlier this week he sold that. TKO filed with the SEC to note that the sale was complete.
Yep, $420 million.
The stock was valued at $77 per share.
Yeah. He sold it for 4.
He still owns 15 million shares, which is valued at $1.221 billion.
He owes roughly 9% of TKO basically. And this was for Mark Shapiro. He basically said we're not in conversation with him. We don't know his moves, his plans, or his timeline. He doesn't work for the company. Doesn't come into the office, and he's not coming back to the company. That's where it's at right now. So basically, Vince ain't coming back to TKO. So he can do whatever he wants with the shares he got. He owns roughly 9% after selling everything for 420. So, which is still a lot. Like, what's the name he got? So basically, he's done with the, what's the name? Big and moral Vince McMahon. You remember we had a thing with Brock Lesnar? He's been removed from, he can't be playable on 2K24. Well, same thing with Vince McMahon. He has been removed from the showcase cutscenes and WWE 2K24. After all the lawsuit came out, a lot of fans have noticed that his face has been blurred out in cutscenes. So he's on that Brock Lesnar path of, you're not in the game. So
let's talk about weddings.
a couple people got married.
Yeah. So Tennille Dashwood, formerly Emma of WWE,
What's the name? That's one of my first wrestler autographs I got was from.
has been married over the weekend to former Riddick Moss of the WWE also.
That's a real life husband,
Yup.
huh?
They met during their time in WWE.
And then, yeah.
They got married in Hawaii at Kailua Ranch. I haven't been to Hawaii, so I'm not sure where that is.
You probably said the name better than I would.
There's been some other weddings too. Why don't you tell me about one of those?
Yes, so Dominic Mysterio also got married. He took a lot of pictures of him and his groomsmen, who were Damian Priest and Austin Theory. Was his groomsmen? He got pictures of him posing with him and Rhea Ripley is there. He even gave a speech, and it's funny, he got booed at his own wedding. So congratulations to the couples. We wish y'all the best of luck. So congratulations to both of them.
Moving on from there. You want to get to this Kevin Kelly story?
Yes. So, Kevin Kelly has indeed been fired from AEW.
I found this to be shocking. I stumbled across the story when
You
I woke
called
up
me
this
and let me
morning.
know. I knew the day, but I didn't know much of it, though.
I didn't know at all. I was clueless.
Apparently, he had some posts on Twitter before the Revolution pay-per-view. Is the reason that he was fired, at least towards AEW sources. He voiced frustrations about how he's been used since he was hired as Collision play-by-play voice. Accused Ian Riccaboni.
So the
Adello. of labeling him and sabotaging his career.
So Riccaboni accused Kevin Kelly of spreading QAnon theories for promoting a film called The Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, they said that it was post made on the Discord server in August. Riccaboni referred to time where he believed Kelly tried to bury him publicly and criticized his film South of Freedom. And now see, that's what I don't buy. Riccaboni says that, well, the Discord posts were made by me, but I didn't know how Discord worked. I should have read up on what it was, but I have no regret about the posts I made. About what I made. So, yeah, I mean, that's all we got for right now. Now, he was replaced by Skivon
On Collision. There's some more to it. So, Kelly wrote, when you go, so hold on. This is a Twitter post responding to what he said. There was somebody that said, Kevin, a lot of things about how you're handling this are baffling, but the most annoying thing is that you haven't said which of Ian's comments are liable. Can you at least clarify that? Because the ones I saw that pertain to the statements you made publicly, all of which can be verified. He wrote, when you go out of your way to intentionally mischaracterize the raising of awareness. As Clinton steps out for a second. When you go out of your way to intentionally mischaracterize my raising awareness of the global horrors of child trafficking to the French conspiracy theories that everyone knows is bullshit in order to hurt my career and standing in the industry, that at the very least is libelous. I do the same thing in AEW because it's critical to explain why. Yeah, I'm reading some more into it. Yeah, basically he stuck his foot in his mouth is what it seems like, and then tried to blame Riccaboni for it happening also.
My apologies.
You're fine.
Had an emergency phone call.
A lot of people feel like his work there in the company was subpar.
Who, Kelly's?
Yeah. Which I don't agree with. I don't know. He wasn't really given that.
He felt like he wasn't given a fair chance.
And I kind of agree, kind of don't. I mean, these comments got you fired. That's here nor there about your chance. But I don't know.
I mean, he was there before Riccaboni, though, wasn't he? Like,
No.
He wasn't?
No, because they bought ROH before they brought him in.
But I'm talking about in terms of like the announcing, though, because like wasn't he?
No. Riccaboni had been there almost a year before Kevin Kelly was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Kelly hasn't even been there a year yet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was there first.
Mm-mm.
I forgot they bought Ring of Honor, but you know, he never really pushes it or mentions it. So, but yeah.
So, obviously Kevin Kelly down the road. We'll see what happens there. My last two should be funny if you want to get into yours. Cause my last two are a Jeff Jarrett story about a CM Punk fight from back in the day.
Oh God.
And Eric, Saudi Uncle Eric talking about what he liked from Sting's retirement match and criticizing Darby Allin.
Yeah, I'll probably get into mine first, just because of the simple fact that I'm going to laugh at that Jeff Jarrett story for sure. A couple quick news stories. SmackDown potentially moving to FX1 in the fall due to college football, which I think a lot of us probably already knew. Also, they have been moved to FS1 during the playoffs in the World Series, so it hasn't happened before. SmackDown will only have to air on FS1 for the month of September because they will be moving back to the USA Network in October. You remember we said that Raw got to deal with Netflix, NXT got to deal with CW. It's feeling like, well, who's going to take that spot in USA? Well, it's SmackDown. SmackDown going to take that spot. So we keep you more updated as we go to that story. Another quick story about The Rock. Two stories to put into one. Reportedly has input on who's being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's unknown if he have a say or has already said, but they believe that the planned inductees are revealed so far: the U.S. Express, Paul Heyman, and Bull Nagamo.
The U.S. Express are Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda.
So, also, they also want him to wrestle a Saudi Arabia show. So, I personally don't want him to because people wrestle on these shows that are like Hall of Fame and it do not go good. But The Rock keeps himself in shape though, so it might be better. We ain't got to see 30 minutes of 4 Hall of Famers looking sluggish and
listen. I want to see him.
We ain't got to see a jackhammer that almost kill a guy and then a tombstone which almost did the same thing.
Listen, I want to see him finish the whole match because the last time you had a match in the company, you blew a pec. So I want to see if you can
finish that bad boy. He finished the whole match too, though.
I want to see if you can handle it to the rigors of being in the ring again.
I think he can. But yeah, though, he finished that whole match. You ain't know nothing was wrong with him until after the match, though. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah.
Two more. One, Logan Paul has partnered up with Prime. Has partnered with WWE. I don't know why. That stuff is disgusting. That's just my opinion. The sponsorship includes the Prime logo being presented on the match starting at WrestleMania 40 and future premium live events. So you will see Prime on mats now.
It's been out here. I swear they're involved with UFC.
They're both part of the TKO, so it might be. Final news I have. Daniel Rodimir, former Tough Enough star, on 2004, is wanted for murder in Las Vegas. He is being charged with a connection to the death of a Christopher Tapp, age 47. They passed away found an incident at a hotel on the Las Vegas Strip, which they thought to be an accident. But investigations suggested foul play, leading to a murder inquiry. They labeled the death a homicide, trimming a blunt force trauma to the head. And he died in October 2003, so this just now, what's the name? They said a arrest warrant and criminal complaint has been issued against Rodemir in the Las Vegas Justice Court for open murder. The complaint filed with Clark County District Attorney alleges that he intentionally struck Tapp on the head, describing the action as willful, deliberate, and premeditated. It's crazy, too. He also ran for Congress in 2022, too, as a Republican. Nearly missed, so could have had a congressman that... What's the name?
A murderous congressman?
Since his departure in 2007. And that is the end of my news stories.
All right, brother. Well, let's get to the last two that I got so we can get through the rest of this.
Yeah, let's get to the funny ones.
All right, so...
I need a laugh. I know I'm going to get one.
All right, so the first of these is Eric Bischoff.
Uncle Eric!
On the latest episode of a Strictly Business podcast or YouTube channel or whatever.
Oh, it ain't 83 weeks?
No, this isn't 83.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about Sting and Darby Allin versus
So he
Young
might not
Bucks.
be a salty bitch. He usually be salty bitch on 83 weeks.
He's salty bitch on everything.
Yeah.
So he was speaking about the match and about how they retained the title. So in Sting's retirement match, quote, well, it's kind of like I said, John, before the event, weeks or months before the event, when it was announced it was going to take place, we had discussions about who the opponent should be and what kind of match it should be, all the variables that could possibly go into it. I made it pretty clear that from my perspective, as long as Steve Borden, the man who plays the character, is happy and leaves with the venue with a big smile on his face and feels satisfied with how he ended his career the way he wanted to, I'm happy as hell for him, living vicariously through him, really. He got to bring his sons into the picture, not only a big part of the angle, but also at the very end, coming in dressed with various evolutions of the characters. So I just, I thought it was cool. There were parts of it, the match is just my favorite kind of match. Anybody who has ever worked with me or listened to me knows I'm just not a big fan of hardcore gimmick matches. This was no exception. So why'd you say it's your favorite kind of match?
What match do you put on in W? Oh, okay.
Quote, I thought the Darby thing was flat out stupid. I don't think I don't think it added at all to the match. I think it's scratching whatever weird fucking itch that Darby Allin has. Good for him, but the risk involved just for the idea of it. It didn't do anything at all for the match. It didn't do anything at all for Sting. It did whatever Darby thinks it was going to do to his career. But other than that, I thought it was fine. Just because of the way it ended. And the crowd left happy. And that was the most important part. When you're producing an event, you're producing it for the audience that paid their money. When it comes time to come into the arena or to watch on pay-per-view, you're producing it for the audience. You're not producing it for yourself. And the crowd left happy, man. And that's, at the end of it all, it doesn't matter what my opinion is or yours or Darby's or Sting's or Tony Khan's or Conrad Thompson's. The only really thing to think of is what the fans think. And I think the fans left happy. So from that perspective, it was a home run. On the show overall.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I got some thoughts after you go ahead.
Okay. We got a couple here. On the show overall. Quote, I did enjoy watching Will Ospreay. I was very impressed with that. I understand the hype. I've seen him before, but never really watched him closely. I get it. I get the hype. The thing of beauty was to watch his abilities in the ring. We're going to talk more about that when we cover Dynamite here, which I watched this morning, but that was impressive. I thought everything else was just, it wasn't bad, but nothing spectacular. I was disappointed in the Eddie Kingston match with Daniel Bryan. That was another great match on there.
I like that match.
It's Bryan Danielson, actually, not Daniel Bryan. Use the slave name. You've got supposedly the best wrestler in the world, and I'm gonna say it how you supposed to. He keeps saying the other way. Bryan Danielson. And then he says, or whatever you call him right now, you got the best wrestler in the world, and I think he's one of the best. He's an amazing performer. And you got that slop fest. I don't get it. But hey, people liked it. Good for them.
It's just him shitting on Eddie Kingston, basically, is what he's doing.
On Darby Allin's ladder bump, quote, it was just a high spot. It was just fucking crazy Mick Foley off the top of the cage high spot. That was it. There was nothing. It was just there as, oh my God, that's what it was for. And it was great. end quote, on why he criticized the Allen spot. Quote, you justify it for what you want. You can be as positive as you want to be. I'm looking at it objectively as a producer, not as a marked out Kool-Aid drinking fucking AEW hardcore wrestling fan who thinks everything they do is so fantastic.
There it is. We know what's coming eventually.
Let me repeat that again. Not as a marked out Kool-Aid drinking fucking AEW hardcore wrestling fan who thinks everything they do is fucking fantastic. Because there's a number of those fans out there. I'm talking about them from a producer. I thought the match was okay for what it was. You know, the Young Bucks don't really have any heat. They've got Pavlov's dog heat, which means the audience knows that they're playing their roles of a heel now. So the audience is going to be complicit and do what they're supposed to do. But that's not real heat. One thing, and you could justify and try to mine some kind of story logic out of this shit if you need to. I don't. I'm just looking at the drama of the match, the story of the match. And yes, maybe that seed has been planted and that's Darby's gimmick. I'm telling you, I find it distasteful and stupid. And the thing is in the long run, it's going to backfire. But you know, they got these people out there who love to watch people throw each other in front of fucking trains and off buildings and shit like that. Hey, keep watching until you won't be able to anymore, and you'll watch somebody else do the same thing. I think it's stupid. I just do. And hopefully Darby Allin, you know, he's a little guy. He's only $140. It's not like he's a 250-pound guy who threw himself off the top of a cage or anything like Mick used to. But, you know, I hope that when he's 45 or 50 years old, he's still able to walk. Look back at his career and be glad that he did that stupid shit he did. Maybe there's a lot of money in the process. I don't know. I don't see that. History does not suggest that there's going to be the outcome. On Sting, the way Sting was treated on the way out, quote, it was a good feeling. Like I said, for Sting to be able to have his kids there was an important thing. You know, I had the privilege of being able to work with my son, who was a very shitty wrestler. By the way.
I was about to say, yes, he was.
Don't go Nepo baby now, baby.
Yeah, holy God, was horrible.
And it's a very satisfying, full circle kind of feeling. So yeah, overall, you know, I'm happy with it. Just looking at things as a producer, not as a geeky dirt sheet wrestling fan, but as a producer, I'm giving my perspective. Why? Here's my perspective. Why with every quote do you have to shit on somebody else to give your perspective? That's what I don't understand. And that's why I call you Shawty Bitch Uncle Eric. Because every time it's you unbuckling your pants and just shitting on whoever has something else to say that's not your thoughts. Like, bro, it's an opinion. Like an asshole, everybody has one. And the whole world fucking shares them. They allow you to share yours. Just, I don't think everybody has to have, like, what's that word? Hive mind speaking, where they all think the same thing. This ain't the Matrix, you know what I'm saying? We ain't all going after that same goal. We all have different thoughts of how we feel about things, bro. And if they don't align with yours, that doesn't mean they're wrong. He's as bad as fucking Cornette, bro. I swear.
He got some more stuff you got to say?
No, we're done with him.
Okay.
I'm on my last one to Jeff Jarrett, and then we can get in the dark side and then get into the story so we can get out of here.
Yeah, hold on. I wanted to touch on
that. Go ahead.
That
Please do.
I did have a couple thoughts about that one.
Please do.
I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently they said Darby Allin is going to try to climb Mount Everest. He's been cleared
do it within the next month.
2, you're talking about gimmicky matches. This is the same guy that had.
Oh my God!
This
You
is
ready?
the same guy that had.
Let's go. You ready? Come on. I got a bunch, and you can tell me. And before you get into it, you can tell me Vince Russo all you fucking want to, motherfucker. You were there for a lot of this shit with his ass. Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, what was it? The match was on the back of the what's the name? The hay truck thing where like you got
the bunkhouse stampede. That one actually not him.
That wasn't him.
That was before him. That was like a Jim Hurd.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
There's
more. Keep going.
The one match you had all the goddamn cages with you had Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage beat like Ric Flair and RN and Zeus and all these guys. That was one.
I can't remember the name of the match. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Let's just go by some of the way that you ran some of the stuff. The fact that you killed Goldberg Street by having him get tasered by Scott Hall in a security suit. How about that one? You did a whole pay-per-view, literally for NWO, and put it on the. Then you had enough, you put it on the road with a bunch of people. It's like everything.
Remember during that same thing when he had a fat lady tournament to give him a kiss?
It's like, bro, it's like you can't.
No. You haven't even got to the good ones. What about Judy Bagwell on a pole?
I didn't want to talk about that one.
What about Viagra on a pole? Some of these are Russos, but you were there. You helped to prove this
Viagra
shit.
on the pole. They did that one. Oh God, I don't remember that one. Maybe I'm. A good thing I don't.
What about the one? Now, this might be more Russo than him, but once again, I think he was there. So they had the one, was it a San Francisco 49ers match where there was a briefcase on each corner? One had the title in it. One of them had like a pink slip. I forgot what the other two had in it.
That was Russo.
I'll give you the best one. I'll give you the worst one he had. Now, you could tell me diplomacy. You could tell me all of this shit. You got none of this out of this. You ready?
Is that the Hogan Warrior match?
This one had his own dark side. It was so bad. Collision in Korea.
Oh God! I remember that. Oh yeah, when Scott Norton almost got fucking killed because he tried to make a phone call to his wife.
Collision in Korea.
That man did not make it back home that night. I got about Collision in Korea. Did have his own dark side. Dang, he got two dark sides. Bash of the Beach.
That one too. Because they were part of that. Remember that the whole segment with that wasn't Finger Point of Doom, but where he made Jeff Jarrett lay down for Hogan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said this is why this company's a piece of shit or everything like that. It's God.
So you want to talk about bad booking, my homie? That was you, cuz.
Bad gimmick matches.
That was you, cuz. Take a look in the mirror, cuz. You did that.
And actually, if you know Darby Allin, it's not surprised that Darby Allin probably did something like that. That's been Darby Allin his whole career. Like, I call Darby Allin a skateboard wrestler. He's like, does all this stuff with skate. He's a skateboarder, so he's going to take risks. He just takes them super way more in the wrestling, which is okay if it works and you know your limits. And you don't think he hear the fact that, man, you 130, 40 pounds. You shouldn't be jumping through glass and falling off stages and doing coffin drop the way you be doing. He hear all that, but it's what people love about Darby Allin. He knows his body. He works. You don't think he training his body for all them bumps he be taking?
All right. So I'm not gonna get into the Jeff Jarrett gimmick we do here in the show. I'll wait to the match on Revolution.
And by the way, a lot of people didn't have a problem with him falling through the glass for the spot.
True. Moving on, because this last one's kind of long and I want to get into the rest of the show to
Yeah.
get out of here. All right, so Jeff Jarrett on his My World podcast talked about a fight between CM Punk and Teddy Hart from the early days of TNA. So,
Oh God.
quote, I love to have this fantastic, crazy story that I spotted him and scouted him, and me and Sting, we didn't talk about it till yesterday, but and the reality is my dad was running in the territory. Talent came in, talent went out, talent came in, talent went out. Sting and Hellwig, their very first territory. It didn't last but 4 or 5 months, and that was it. I had to let him go, but it was the next step in Sting, and we discussed it and went down, hooked up with Watts and Gilbert, and the rest is history. That part I don't know why he's talking about CM Punk into the company. He's talking about how Sting started there. So,
man, because when they do that with Jeff,
now everybody get into the Punk start. But go ahead.
He always talk about something before he go to his main point.
His main point.
Yeah.
All right. Punk, though, again, a time where we had, oh boy, not to be redundant here, but one day a week ROH was going. Independents were beginning to go. We had a few independents in from the UK. We had a different vibe, a different scenario. But Julio De Niro, putting those two guys together, love Julio. He was a bump-taking fool. And Punk was very nature in conversations. And Conrad, you know that. I've been in sales my entire adult life. But when you meet someone, for lack of a better words, curb appeal, natural charisma is just kind of opening. Hello, how are you doing? Body language. Punk has always had that. And people have different auras that they like to give off. Some people are more cocky or arrogant or likable or standoffish. To me, Punk has always had this easy to talk to, might be the first, engaging, that's the better word. Punk's always been engaging, so these early formative years, I saw the promo not too long ago for a Ring of Honor promo he did, The Gift of Gab. I think the seed has always been in somebody. You got to grow it, water it, nurture it, blossom it. Then you have to have the right opponent. Then you have to do it again and again and again. Nothing replaces reps in the business, and we were part of Punk's early reps. On hearing that about the fight between Teddy Hart and CM Punk at the White Trash Cafe. Yeah.
Oh God! Oh, the name.
I know it's like, oh boy,
The name.
So I'll give the white. I'll give the white for my new My World listeners. You know what? The Wednesday night shows, the early days of Asylum, the first, 4 or 6 shows we had catering. And the Asylum was on the Tennessee State Fairgrounds. And you had to walk, 4, 5, 6 guys, walk a couple hundred yards to go from the Asylum where the kitchen was and the mess halls or the concessions. But anyway, that's where we originally had catering for us. And we used to use that part of the fairgrounds. But it was a pretty good walk. It was crappy food as well. Right at the bottom of the hill. So it's maybe 30 yards from the front door of the Asylum or to the bottom of the hill was a meat there. But anyway, the meat in the 3 was the White Trash Cafe. And it was real easy. They loved our business. We paid them X amount of money every week, and they gave the guys tickets. You go in there, get their food. I'm not gonna say everybody liked it, but it was certainly an upgrade. Yeah, some kind of Southern hospitality that you can go get a piece of pie all the way, piece of pie and all the ice till anyway. You go to the bottom of the hill, Conrad. I just left and walked up to the back of the top of the hill when shenanigans broke out, but certainly you can imagine and heard of it instantaneously on Teddy Hart. Good old Teddy. And as time has gone on, and I'm certainly not the only one, I'm sure Eric and others have talked about Ted, and maybe he's been in a relationship with potentially going to hire this guy. But the first time I met Teddy was at a Calgary house show for the WWF in the late 90s. Ted is another guy that is, call it unique personality. But, oh, man, as time's gone on, I say that that turns to me as some mental health issues, and it's a damn shame the kind of where he's at. But the early days, we had no idea of this. Now on to the fight. He's long-winded. This is the last part. Okay. As I was reading the research, there was some prior bad blood or quite a bit of bad blood beforehand, but this doesn't factor into who we were bringing in or not bringing in. And maybe that's a little bit of, old school, but look, you want to go put on the best Wednesday shows, show up for work. And if you got a personal issue, we talked about Shane Douglas and the Funker having an issue that I wasn't aware of at all, but we didn't have any idea, or the people didn't tell me, or if they did tell me, and I'm not saying that they didn't. I'd say, hey, man, they can do whatever they can and fight each other in their off time. Just don't bring it to work. And I've always had this kind of mentality, folks. Show up, be professional, and get your work done. And if you do cause trouble on the site, you damn sure better have some leverage, because you just don't need that at work, because you want to have that work environment. Now, 2024 is completely different circumstances, but in 2004, it was still these set of circumstances. You don't want nonsense going on at work. When I heard about it, I'm not sure. Both the Harris brothers were working with me at the time. Good old Donnie, I can just imagine, came to me, and probably Bob Ryder probably had 3 or 4 different versions. And, and I'm sure that Danny Rooster was trying to get all the scoop and figure it out. I don't know. Whoever else would have been around that would have had probably asked, hey, give me your version. And then look, at the end of the day, both of them could go to work that night. Donnie, we need to have a conversation with them. That shit doesn't need to happen on our clock. When they do what they do after hours is their own, but don't bring that drama to work. There's enough struggles day in and day out. Running a wrestling show doesn't add to the craziness. So, I'm sorry. I just wasted 5 minutes of our time, because none of that shit even talked about the fucking fight. I thought he was going to get some type of detail to it or something to add some levity to the situation. And he basically talked around the situation. You failed us on this one. Shame. Shame. On us. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about Dark Side, bro.
Yes. says, so Dark Side is back. This Dark Side was on John Earthquake Tenta. I want to talk about how his life started off in Starry, Canada, how he was a sumo wrestler, but excuse me. Started off as a sumo wrestler, but eventually he wanted to become an actual pro wrestler, and also too he didn't like that with certain stuff that he had to do in sumo. Basically felt that like they had some stuff they wanted to do. Of course, a lot of people, they ain't mentioning the dark side, but a lot of people know the fact that they wanted him to cover up his tattoo that he had.
Yeah, he got a tattoo of a tiger on his shoulder because he went to LSU. Actually, he was recruited from LSU to become a sumo wrestler.
Yeah. So then talk about how he first got started. It was a push-up contest between Dino Bravo and Ultimate Warrior, and they basically tell him like pick somebody out the crowd so that I guess they can do push-up with somebody sitting on them, and he was there. I remember his son said he was there, just like a dad. And then that's when he come in there. What's the name on the Warrior? Where it's initially started. Actually did a couple dark matches, feuded with Hogan. A lot of people felt that like he was the perfect foe for Hogan. A lot of people said that he was real professional. Like you knew with him, you knew that the job was gonna get done. You had nothing to worry about. They talk about his incident in Japan. His shoot fight
with Koji Katao.
And talk about how they said that like he got like fired the next day, not tend to Koji did for through a table, them little skinny tables.
Them skinny tables you see in New Japan.
Through the table.
This wasn't for New Japan though. This is for World of Sport.
Yeah. Through the something out table and basically saying that like, oh, it's fake and I can really kick your ass and everything like that. Said that when he came back to the States, a lot of wrestlers walked in like, man, we heard you was in the actual shoot over there when you was in Japan. They said that basically got his like, and they said you handle yourself well, was basically like he got the respect of the locker room. Then we get to National Disaster. They felt it was like going a little bit stale, so they teamed him up with Fred Ottman. National Disaster. They had him a great run. They had a couple runs of tag team championships. Then unfortunately,
he also had a good feud with Jake the Snake in there too while he was solo.
I don't think I got to that one yet. I'm probably going out of order. Yeah, the whole thing with Jake the Snake, since you brought it up, was like the fact that like he mentioned the fact that like he was supposed to crush Damien, but it was just two pantyhose and a bunch of
hamburger meat. Yeah.
but they said that Jake sold it so well that they had like people send them letters and everything like that. I'm like, dang, Jake did sell it. Jake over there like crying. I'm looking like after that, so he leaves WWE because he himself said he felt he was always impatient. He felt nothing was happening, so he goes back to Japan. Then during that time, he's in Japan. I want to say you had the whole thing. Fred Ottman had to leave, did he? Because unfortunately his brother-in-law got killed. So he had to leave, take care of the business of doing that. He comes back. Ottman does. We all know how he comes back. The Shockmaster, which apparently he said, like, a lot of people say, like, it wasn't that he wasn't doomed by a wall.
People try to say
he was doomed by the fact that the wall was so much thinner than he thought it would be. They tell him to push the thing with full force. He goes with full force, and helmet come off. You see Ric Flair like, oh God.
People try to lie and say that they had put this like 2x4 board at the bottom. They know it was no 2x4.
He said it
was no board.
He said it was like 6x6 or something like that, and they.
But he thought it'd make it easier for him to go through. Like they had like prepped it, but they didn't prep it. So when he went through, he had to use more force, and he thought that's
and
why
he actually went through. And helmet fall off, and then the funniest part, of course, you hear the oh God. And then British Bulldog.
Oh God!
He throwing his off. British Bulldog. But Haku had the best part. Because Haku was just mercilessly just laughing. He could not stop laughing.
He never seen it. The first time he saw it was on Dark Side.
Like, oh my God, he broke character. Did he miss the character? And
he said, like, did the gimmick fall off his head?
I'm looking like, bro, chill. He just his laughing non-stop made me laugh. It's making me laugh.
He loved that shit. That was awesome.
He owned it too, though. He know that, like, he know that's what he remembered for. He showed a little like action figure that they had.
At least that was the only time he had to wear that shit. Because after that, they just made him like a construction worker.
Yeah.
So
and then
he's had the initial embarrassment.
Then he comes back. He comes
back to John.
Tenta comes back after they said he had an argument with his wife because he wasn't with the kids enough. He comes back to WCW. They bring him back as Avalanche. But that was so much resemblance to Earthquake, and WWE owned Earthquake, and I guess WWE at that time was going to try to.
Oh, they were very libelous at the time. They were going to sue you for everything.
Sue him for that. So then they bought him back as.
You got to remember that was around the same time as they had the fake, Diesel and the fake Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
they were very litigious at the time.
A young Kane was a fake Diesel. That's crazy.
I know, right?
So they bought him back as a Shark. And he actually had like a shark thing on his arm, man.
And teeth on his like singlet.
And they finally got rid of that one. And they took him to say, like, I'm not no shark man. I'm not no fish bait. Like, I'm a man. Man, fortunately, at that time, WCW what's the name. Then he comes back. They have at the Oddities. I forgot what's the name of the Oddities. Goga. So he basically came back.
He was the one who wore the brown leather mask and the giant Cartman.
Yeah, had the giant Cartman, and
they were a success at the time, but he wasn't happy because he had to hide his face in order to be in the ring and have a job in the company.
Yeah, and they also felt that, and a lot of people said they felt that they did that because they felt that if he would have shown his face, everybody would have knew him as Earthquake, and he would have got more what's the name at the group. So basically, like, his popularity was still so much over at that time. They felt that like Vince and them probably would have got jealous because like we pushing this gimmick now and then they want to bring him back as Earthquake. Eventually, he takes a truck, gets his license, becomes a truck driver,
like a CDL.
And first they said that's when like he first had issues like with his stomach and everything like that.
Yeah, blood clots were showing in his pee and stuff.
And then on
blood spots.
Found that he had bladder cancer, but he didn't tell the family immediately though. He waited till like it got like so fucking big that like
they said the tumor by the time they got to it was like the size of a baseball.
Yeah,
they couldn't remove it.
They knew something was wrong with it, but he hung on. He fought, beat it, and then unfortunately it came back again. And then you got the sad story. She talking about they was like, I guess they had a song that him and his wife was singing. And
yeah, they were at his oldest son's wedding, which was the wife's son that he adopted when they met.
And they said that
but the son looks at him like a father anyway.
He said that they were singing the song, and then they instantly he said they had that moment they just started crying. Then he got worse, sir. He talked about he got to the hospital, said he looked at everybody. I think his one son said he would always wink at me when it was my turn to talk to him. He said he held my hand, he winked at me. Said his daughter died. As soon as the daughter held his hand, that's when he died, which is sad. Just so sad. Only 43. Like,
43.
So young, man.
And he lived a normal life. He wasn't like most wrestlers that like super party hard.
He was a family man.
He said when they were on the road, he didn't even go kick it. Him and Fred Ottman would go to the room, play cards, tell road stories, and smash out on like a room service and shit.
They were just what's the name?
They were just good old fat boys, being fat boys.
So the whole story was just sad. And then the fact that like ain't nobody from WWE reached out after the funeral, which is just like, God damn. Man.
And you said it perfectly. As dark side goes on, we really realize how much of a piece of shit Vince McMahon really is.
Like, and it's just like, it's sad, man. So, what a way to start off our dark side. But next week, we're going to get a bunch of laughs.
Yes, sir.
We get Buck Bagwell.
Yeah, that shit's going to be fucking funny, bro. I'm telling you.
It's going to be crazy.
I am telling you. After re-listening to his Crime and Sports a couple weeks ago while I was at work, I was like, yes, I can't wait to this dark side. It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. All right, so let's get into the news of the week. The shows of this week.
Yes, sir.
Had a great pay-per-view last week we got to talk about, and we also got our typical show. So let's get into it. Starting off with Collision. Over on AEW Collision last Saturday, day before the pay-per-view. It started off with a match. It was supposed to be Buddy Matthews coming down for a match. He was jumped from behind by Mark Briscoe, though. The beating was going down for Briscoe. He went after him. Well, did we? No, we didn't talk about this last week. I don't know why I feel like we did. Anyway, so he went after him. He got spiked last week as we were talking about. So now he went after him with the spike before he get a chance to fully finish that off. House of Black came in and made the save. Instead of spiking him right there and taking him out, it's like they left him. Like they dogged him, but then instead of fully finishing him off, they just like kind of stood there, posed for a second with their foot in his head. And then he went ahead and went off because this is going to continue later. All-Star Scramble qualifying match. Whoever won this qualified for the All-Star Scramble match. That's going to be in the pay-per-view, which replaced the Meat Madness match. We said that wasn't going to be on the pay-per-view. So this match, your opponents were Penta El Zero Miedo, Brian Keith, and Dante Martin. Dante Martin's been getting a good push recently on solo stuff. He actually pulls this one out.
Nice, let's go.
With a frog splash pin on Brian Keith.
Let's go, Dante. Let's go.
So we'll see what happens from there. Next up, you had a promo, one earlier from Swerve. Talking after he got jumped after the promo on Dynamite, so he isn't happy with what Hangman did. He said he won't take his eyes off him ever again at Revolution. He's going to take the world title. Hangman came back with a promo after the match, the Dante Martin match, where he said he won't let Swerve win the world title. We'll get more to that in a second. Mariah May versus Angelica Risk. Another show-out moment from Mariah May. Probably the biggest moment of the entire match when she blew a kiss to Nigel McGuinness, was causing to pass out at ringside. And Tony Schiavone looked at him like, yeah, a grown man. After he did it. Either way, she finished off with the Mayday, 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Post-match, Toni Storm came down to the ring, and Mariah May, she was overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, you actually watched one of my matches? She just face palmed her out the way and snatched the mic up to start talking shit to Purrazzo. Like, nah, that's not why I'm here. She called out Purrazzo. Storm said this isn't why she and Purrazzo got here, and said she loves Purrazzo. She also loves that there's only room for one, and it would never be Purrazzo. That made Purrazzo laugh at her because they used to be best friends and now they're worst of enemies. Purrazzo said, I promise to break both your arms, so I hope you have a bidet or something like that, 'cause you're not going to be able to wipe your ass.
I get what she's saying. Nah,
they started beating on each other after Storm put on some lipstick and placed a kiss on her. So we'll see where that goes at the pay-per-view. Austin Gunn and the Acclaim taking on the Dark Order. Bang Bang Scissor Gang, once again, he still can't spit. I guess that's the new gimmick, so still no bars out of Max Caster. So we get into this match. Shiver Me Timbers on Uno. It gets broke up after they scissored a little bit. Uno hits a DDT. They take a break, coming back from the break, knocking Austin Gunn down. Austin Gunn knocking Uno down, I should say. Tag brings Bones in to clean house, including running Famouser on Uno. Everything breaks down from there. Dark Order hits a triple slam on Bowens for a near fall. Back up the arrival into the mic drop. Finishes off Alex Reynolds for the victory. 8 minutes and 17 seconds for the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Stokely Hathaway apologizes to Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander because he caused her to lose by trying to get her to cheat, and they caused the distraction. They said they called out both Sky Blue and Julia Hart for a tag match. That's on the pre-show of Revolution. We'll get to that in a second. Tony Schiavone brings out Wardlow for a chat. Wardlow immediately tells him to get the fuck out the ring. I added the fuck part. Said he's ready to win the scramble and become the new #1 contender. Which champion is he going to face? He said maybe he can slap Hangman back into his depression. He said maybe he can kick in the front door of Swerve's house. Or maybe it's Wardlow versus Samoa Joe because Wardlow is sick of the Joe chants and wants to send him back to commentary. I was feeling him. I was feeling him until that, though, because you bit. Because Swerve had the better one when he said, maybe I want to put you back in the poncho at commentary. He said it first.
Yeah, the mania with the poncho.
Yeah, you bit. So that's where I had to be like, yeah, I was feeling you until that one.
I'm giving the props on the other two, though. The kick in Swerve's door.
And send him into depression.
I'm like, dang. Because we remember Depressed Hangman.
Oh, yeah, Depressed Hangman was some of the best Hangman, honestly.
Yeah, it was. So, yeah.
From there, we get Chris Jericho coming down in the rep and says Wardlow isn't going to fight for the world title tomorrow. He's fighting Jericho, one of the best to do it. Jericho talks about his 8th title he's won. He said maybe the reason Wardlow never got there because he's not good enough. And then he calls him Mike, which I guess is his real first name. Whatever. Wardlow said he said he was just close to the top of the mountain, but he had to take one step down after another, and yeah, he was mad. Took away his happiness, and he sat at home for 3 months, but then he came back. I remember who he was. He's the baddest man in wrestling, and he's done eating scraps. So he said, so come do something about it. Jericho goes towards the ring. All of a sudden, Powerhouse Hobbs jumps him from behind, so he never even gets a chance. Serena Deeb says she wants competition, says she's the final boss. So we'll see where we go from there. Excuse me. Private Party versus Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. I'm not talking about this match, though. It goes almost 10 minutes because you know who wins.
Yes, not Matt Sydal.
Nope. or CD. But, you know what we do get here, though? A wild slap nuts on the loose. Diddlin'.
I seen this. J-E-double-F. J-A-double-R-E to W-T-W-J.
Get a wild slap nuts on the loose. Comes out. T60 team with Private Party at Revolution for a distraction. Allows Jay Lethal to drop Daniels with a lethal combination and give Mark Quinn the pin. Thunder Rosa versus Cassandra Golden. This is another squash match. Runs her in the corner for a dropkick, top rope, double stomp. Sets up a seated Cobra clutch to make Miss Golden tap at 2 minutes 18 seconds. Then we get our main event. Hook, Daniel Garcia, Trapper Red, and Orange Cassidy versus the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Kill Switch, Brian Cage added to it, and Roderick Strong. In this one, which they gave plenty of time to, let's just skip to the end of it. Everything breaks down. We get a parade of strikes and throws. Brian Cage's F5 on Orange Cassidy for a 2 count. Garcia and Hook managing to make the save. Cassidy dives onto Strong, who is in a heartache on the floor. The Stronghold keeps Cassidy in trouble on the outside. Trent Rose kill switch in for a 2 count. Nick Wayne gets in a cheap shot, though. Kill switch hits a clothesline to the back of Trent's head for the pin in 19 minutes and 14 seconds. That was Collision. Was lead us to the pay-per-view. Opening the pay-per-view on the pre-show, 0 hour, we get Bang Bang Scissor Gang opening up against Private Party, Willie Mack, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh.
They just threw Willie Mack in there?
Yep, and it was funny, too, because after doing they danced during the shots. So Mark Quinn's on the floor, like humping the air. Willie Mack looks down at him while he's picking his hair, just like,
oh, Lord.
It was just random when he did it, so I was laughing my ass off. Also,
why, Willie, why?
Also, which was funny as fuck during this match, was that Sanjay Dutt came down to the ring sporting a red wave cap.
Oh, God.
I don't know why. He wore it like Vince
Did you see
McMahon.
him on Collision when you talking about he's trying to dance like the what today? I was like, somebody please hit him. Like, stop this. Y'all are black, okay? Do not allow this man to dance like that. You can hit him and stop him. I'm like, no. He was feeling it. He was in this bag, too.
He was rocking a red wave cap like Vince McMahon. Oh, Lord. The only thing missing was him going, my nigga.
Ain't gonna live that.
This was buttered. This match went 12 minutes. Eventually, I'm gonna get down to the clutch of the match because basically once Jay White came in, it was fast forward to the finish because he was instantly gonna hit a sling blade on Willie Mack to start off. That got broke up. So then from there, Quinn hit a 450. Matt got a 2 count. The Blade Runner this is where the Blade Runner got broke up. Satnam Singh comes in, wrecks everybody. They do an assisted famouser on him to say because they took him in to get his big ass down. Once they did that, they went back to the Blade Runner against Willie Mack. This time it gets the pin, 12 minutes 16 seconds. Post match, Jay White basically cutting kind of a face promo talking about he's getting himself back in the world title picture no matter who becomes the champion tonight after the 3-way. And I believe he has a match cheese coming up against Darby Allin this week on Big Business. So we'll see where that goes. The second match of the 0 hour was Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale taking on Sky Blue and Julia Hart. This one going towards the end of the match, Statlander and Hart slug it out for a minute. Hart knocks her down. Moonsault gets 2. It's Blue coming back in, kicking Statlander in the face a few times. Statlander gets a shot in of her own, though, and brings Nightingale back in for the pounce on Blue. The Babe with the powerbomb finishes off Sky Blue with 13 minutes and 16 seconds. No shenanigans here on this one. Now to the show proper. Opening match, TNT title match, Daniel Garcia versus Christian Cage. This was a pretty good match because of the way Christian Cage does his matches as a slow build. You know what I'm saying? He gets his heel tactics in slowly. He never does anything that's like super overly strenuous until you really get down to the bulk of the match, towards the end of the match, and then start doing more and more shit like that. But I just love the way he works his match and his heel styles, especially as he hones it more as he gets older as a wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Right now, for me personally, I feel like he's at his peak. I know there's been times he's been world champions in other companies and stuff like that, but I'm just really feeling where Christian is right now as a heel, personally. Back to this match that he has here. Patriarchy distraction is what killed this all the way, so let's start with that to begin with. Getting towards the end of the match, Cage managed to send him into the corner. Kill Switch gets a choke slam off, but the ref thought that Garcia was knocked down for some random reason because he wasn't paying attention. Setting up a top rope smash from Cage for 2. Matt Menard comes in to go after Kill Switch. Mother Wayne distracts him. Matt Menard brawls with Kill Switch to the back, leaving Garcia there to apologize for 2. Garcia gets a roll up on Cage. He tries to get rid of the roll up on this. Cues Nick Wayne in, hits a stunner over the rope, setting up another Kill Switch, or Unprettier if you want to call it that. 16 minutes, 43 seconds.
Kill Switch sounds so much better.
Okay, well, yeah, especially if you know the origin.
Unprettier is more of like if a female should do it.
But yeah, but the origins of it is
yeah.
why. He only called it the Unprettier because Vince McMahon wanted to wear a blue dot on TV because he thought he was ugly. So that's why he named the finisher the Unprettier. Bro. Anyway, this match was 16 minutes, 43 seconds. The Patriarchy and Christian Cage win. I say both because they were a big proponent in why he got the victory here. I thought Edge would show up, Adam Copeland, but he did not. Kayfabe out, though. He's not really hurt. I think this is part of the story. Continental Classic title match next. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. Thought this was kind of early on the card. Still was a great match no matter where they placed it at. This one was a match that was built on respect. 19 minutes and 43 seconds this match went. Getting down to the towards the end of the match, Danielson gets back in, hits a running kick, setting up for a running knee for another near fall. He does a triangle choke on Kingston, which has him in trouble. But he stays awake, and when the arm drops, instead Kingston gets his feet to the ropes. Really had the fans going wild. Danielson starts kicking away again on him. Kingston keeps telling him to bring it before changing and winning an exchange of suplexes between the two. They struck it out again as the Danielson reversed a powerbomb attempt. Only had the running knee clotheslined away. Kingston hits a powerbomb to retain his title after that. Post-match, Danielson finally, after teasing it, does shake the hand. And then there's also a great post-match backstage conversation between the two.
I've seen that.
That's pretty good, too. Next up is the All-Star Scramble match. Hook versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Lance Archer versus Brian Cage versus Wardlow versus Dante Martin versus Chris Jericho versus Magnus. You might as well just not add the Magnus guy because he wasn't even there. Wardlow won. There's no need to really get heavy deep into it. This match was kind of whack to me just how it was like staged out.
Like the last minute.
They started with all the faces fell out, so all the biggest dudes in the match got to talk shit to each other a little bit, and then they kind of banged against each other for a little bit. Then they fell out the ring, and then the little dudes did the same thing. Then they all mixed together till we got the ring. And that's kind of how the match went, essentially.
You should just made like a little gauntlet match or something.
Went 16 minutes, 19 seconds. Wardlow wins.
That's shocking.
So it made sense to his storyline with the Kingdom and stuff. So it made sense that he won it. Next up, we get Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong for the international title. This is a very good match. Also, this match basically came down to Orange Cassidy, the fighting champion, always putting out challenges, always defending his title. That shit caught up to him in this match because all them injuries stacked up against the wrong one. The Messiah of the Backbreakers.
Yeah.
Towards the end of this match, they get back up. End of Heartache is countered into a stun dog millionaire, gives Cassidy a breather. Stronghold goes on, but Cassidy slips out of it into a tornado DDT. A middle rope DDT gives Cassidy another 2 count, hits his own Panama Sunrise. A beach break is broken up. They trade big shots to the face. A second beach break connects for 2, but Strong comes back with another End of Heartache. Cassidy's back is all jacked up. He wins the match 12 minutes, 45 seconds. Post-match, this was interesting. Kingdom's in the ring celebrating. All of a sudden, Kyle O'Reilly, Cool Kyle, makes his return. They tried to give him the shirt immediately. He whispered something in Strong's ear, like I'm cool, and walked off on his own. So we'll see where the storyline is going to go from here. Next up, a match I thought that started very slow, became very well, and the fans were into it by the end of it. It gave it plenty of time. I think this might be, outside of the main event, this is maybe the longest match in the card. It went 21 minutes and 43 seconds. FTR versus Blackpool Combat Club, Moxley and Castagnoli. Towards the end of the match, Moxley and Harwood have a slug out moment. Wood is back in, hits a spike power driver for 2. The club come back with a Doomsday device, the European uppercut variation, though. That gets a 2 count. On Harwood, everybody's down. Moxley grabs a cutter into the swing with the drop kick for 2 more. Harwood and everyone is down again. Moxley, Harwood start exchanging elbows and biting on the one cut with Castagnoli hitting a running boot. Wheeler is back in for the save. Powerbomb, rope, clothesline gets 2. Setting up a shatter machine for 2. Castagnoli making the save. A neutralizer hits Wheeler on the floor. Harwood plants Castagnoli as well. Back in. Moxley has a Death Rider on Harwood for 2. Get a roller for the same. And before he gets choked out. Harwood getting choked out by Moxley. Next up, we have the women's title match. Toni Storm taking on Diana Purrazzo. This one I felt like probably could have had a better place in the card. And we had a little more fan experience from it because I feel like the fans were kind of dead for this one coming off those first couple matches. But that does not say this match is bad at all because it wasn't. It was basically Toni Storm trying to show her technical expertise in the ring, that she's not just all this gaga that she's been doing the last couple weeks, but it seemingly would just repeatedly fail. So she kept having to use her strong style tactics, you know what I'm saying, because she's usually the stronger one in most matches, in order to get over in this one. Towards the end of the match, Storm grabs the ankle lock of Purrazzo. Purrazzo kicks her out to the floor where Luther makes his catch and takes a save. Purrazzo dives onto both of them. Hit the Fujiwara armbar on the outside. Storm. She does tap, but Luther has the referee allowing Mariah May to make her own distraction, and which allows the Storm to grab the power driver for the victory. 12 minutes and 16 seconds. Hopefully, we see Purrazzo climb back to this top spot soon. We get a quick.
Mariah May finally got her flowers too.
Yeah, she did. We get it.
Toni Storm gave her props
because he helped her with the victory.
She also was dressed up as like
I forgot about that. She came out as old Toni Storm.
Amazing. She's like, you were fabulous. Like, oh my god! Like, yeah.
She came out as old Toni Storm.
Like this, look at the background like.
Yeah, she came out as old Tony Storm with the backwards hat and the red and the black and the sunglasses.
That's how I know. That's the Tony Storm I grew up watching.
Next match for me was match of the night. Meltzer gave it 5.75 stars. Will Ospreay, his initial match in AEW, under AEW contract now, I will say, is Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. I say it often on this show, folks. I can't do this justice. You need to go watch it in order to really get the scope of why people say some matches are 5 stars or not. Now, if you only like a certain type of wrestling or you only watch one thing, you might not get it. But I get it. I feel like a lot of these Ospreay matches, and you could definitely tell that with the Kyle Fletcher match from Wednesday, that was a New Japan match in the AEW ring. The whole way they worked it with the stop, exchanging strong style spots and shit like that, that's not really American wrestling. That's New Japan written all over that. But that doesn't mean it was a bad match. It was a good match, and it's something a little different than we get here on American TV, where we get a lot of dusty finishes and the such. I'm not gonna say this was a New Japan match. This was just a great match, period. And the blending of these two styles were just so dope together in the match to me. Like how they countered off of each other with a lot of spots and stuff. It was crazy. They even make one of the most basic moves look really dope, which is that Blue Thunder Bomb. I don't really like that on Takeshita. He's used as a finish from time to time. I just feel like it's kind of a basic transition move. But at least he adds that super spin to it to make it look doper.
Sammy used to do that in NXT. Then they took the super spin away. Like when you watch Sami Zayn in NXT, when he used to do the Blue Thunder Bomb, he would spin you around like 6-7 times before he actually dropped you. But once he moved to the main roster, he kind of more went to the haluva kick as his finisher. So Will Ospreay got off the full assortment of his moves here, but at the same time, like I said, Konosuke Takeshita met him spot for spot on finishers till they got to the end. There was a nasty spot where Ospreay got dropped on his neck on the top rope. I mean his neck, bro.
Yeah, that was
his neck, bro.
That was a crazy one there.
His biggest downfall gonna be his goddamn neck.
There was a spot where he had a hidden blade on Takeshita. Takeshita kicked out at one out of nowhere. Like this match was just so back and forth. It was fucking awesome. Running knee was countered into a Styles Clash for 2. They're both down again. Ospreay gets back up with a Tiger Driver 91, this time hitting the hidden blade for the pin. As I said, 21 minutes, 48 seconds for this match. Go if you see any match on this show. Seen the Sting match, see this match. World title match next, Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. And I love the story that this match told, especially once we get to the end. It went 19 minutes and 40 seconds. So they basically came in and Swerve and Hangman knocked Joe out. Joe was fighting him off at first, did his nose spot and everything, but eventually they knocked him out and teamed together. But their hatred of each other was so strong that teamwork lasted for about 10 seconds before they looked at each other and started exchanging shots. So Joe comes in like a dad trying to control his kids and shit, knocks them both down, like get off this bullshit. It was a pretty great fight in the match from there like that. Many great spots in the match. Getting down towards the end of the match, Joe gets dropped again on the outside. Swerve suplexes Page for a 2 count. Joe being right there to break it up. Back up, Joe strikes away, setting up a muscle buster on Page. Swerve stops Joe and everybody's down. Then he hits a house call on Joe and another one on Page. But Joe still has enough time to break up the cover. Page on the floor. Swerve hits a 450 to Joe's back. Does not get a cover, though. Swerve knocks Joe down again for a 2 count. Page pulls the referee, starts beating the shit out of the referee, which led to his suspension later, but we'll get to that in a second. Another ref eventually comes down. There was a belt shot by Swerve. He had another chance to use Prince Nana's helmet, but we see where he's finally leaning more towards babyface because he gave it back to Nana like, no, I want to do this on my own. Eventually, after catching the belt shot to the head, Page hits a couple of buckshot lariat spots. So did Swerve in this one. They were pretty good. Another referee comes in for 2. This time buckshot gets pulled into coquina clutch though. Swerve breaks it up with a sky twister press, grabs another object. throws it down instead. Joe grabs the coquina clutch on Swerve. Page breaks it up once another referee comes in. Back up. Joe runs over to Page, hits him with a buckshot lariat. Swerve hits Page with his own buckshot lariat. Then a JML driver. Joe suplexes Swerve out of that. Hits a coquina clutch on Page. Now this is where it comes down to it. Did Page tap because he had to tap, or could he fight? And that's what I loved about the ending. Did he hate Swerve so much that he said, you know what? I'm going to tap because I might lose, but that bitch ain't about to win either.
I think that's the way
I love that. I love it. That's a Saudi bitch move. That's some Saudi bitch shit. And we talk about Saudi bitches on the show a lot. I fucking loved it. I thought it was a great ending. Some people question it. I like the storytelling of it. It adds to it. He hates him so much in his heart. He'll lose himself as long as he ain't winning.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
I love that. I love that. Love the ending. Joe retains. So we'll see where this goes from there. They have another pay-per-view coming up, a new one, Dynasty, coming up April 21st. So a little over a month from now. So we'll see what happens there. But like I said, I love the ending to this match. So we'll see where that goes. We get a recap of Sting's career as he's sitting in a theater for, it says it's showtime for the final time. He comes down to the ring. Darby comes down first. Sting comes down. The Bucks come in. They take the Cody entrance using the elevator up when they come in. Darby comes down. Sting comes out, but first the Sons come out. One dressed as Wolfpack Sting. One dressed as Surfer Sting in the red, white, and blue. I believe he wore when he won his first title on July 7th, 1990 from Ric Flair at a Clash of the Champions. And then Sting comes out as current Sting, of course. Pretty great match. Let's get to the highlights of the match. So eventually we get to a spot. We might as well just get to it, the biggest spot of the match. I'm not sure if it was sugar glass or real glass. I am kind of sure that they probably used the glass almost as a dig at CM Punk, because the Bucks can be Saudi like that. Mm-hmm. I want to say no, but I'm pretty sure that's why they did it. So they bring the glass out. Now the first glass spot, the Bucks were in front of after being knocked down. Sting swings the bat here, moves out of the way, crushes that glass. So that's why I wasn't sure if it's the sugar glass or the real glass. Then Darby Allin gets to the point where he sets up a giant Jeff Hardy-sized ladder inside the ring, 6 chairs, and the glass across the chair seats. Has one of the, I think it was Nick Jackson was on there, and his brother makes a save before Darby Allin hits a coffin drop off the top of the ladder through the glass by himself. His back is instant red. Instant red. There was no delay to it. He went through and you just saw red spots everywhere. It was just red spots everywhere. You can see the glass in his back. Essentially, he's out of the match at this point. So this is basically Sting versus the Bucks by himself. Yeah. Sting gets a spot through the glass at one point in time. I think they hit an EVP trigger on him for a 1 count. He just ate that and got up. Did a lot of amazing spots. Had a Sting diving off of something amazing in the crowd spot again. There was a lot of stuff in this match. JR was on the call, so we got JR back. So that was dope. Forgot to mention that. We had Ricky Steamboat. I think he did ring the bell for the match. He ended up catching super kicks at some point in time in the match. Ric Flair tried to get involved. He caught 2 super kicks in the face. Was only significant because I think one is about 68, and I know Flair just turned 75. And he said he caught some glass from all the glass in the ring too after all that shit. So when he was down trying to get himself off the mat after the super kicks. So, there was that also. Eventually, though, we get down to the end of the match. The Bucks super kick Sting saying, "We hate you." He pops back up and hits a death drop for 2 on Matt. They hit another EVP trigger later. The first one got a 1 count. This one got a 2 count. No, I'm sorry. Reverse that. They hit 1, he got a 2 count. Then tried to hit another one. This one, he got 1. Sting laughs at both of them. Darby Allin finally gets his ass back up after the spot from earlier. Breaks up a Meltzer driver. Scorpion death drop on Matt. Darby Allin's back is still retardedly bleeding, but he hits a coffin drop from the top rope anyway. Sting hits a death lock for a tap out for the victory. 20 minutes and 56 seconds. Sting retains, does not go out on his back, goes out on top as he should.
Yeah, as he should.
Post match, Darby Allin was given a couple of seconds. He just introduced Sting and let Sting talk. Let him suck up the chairs. He said he wanted to thank the fans that have been there since the 80s and hope he gave him a night to remember, which he totally did. This was a great match. Sting thanked Darby Allin for being the greatest partner he's ever had and wondered how many stitches his back's going to need. Talk about being a risk taker and everything like that. There was more to the speech because it got cut off at the end of the pay-per-view, but if you watch the media scrum, they played the whole thing, I guess, on there also. So that was the end of Revolution. Some people were calling it AEW's greatest pay-per-view ever. I wouldn't go that far. I would say top 3, top 5. Definitely the last 3 matches were awesome. Ospreay and Kateska stole the show, but I feel like it closed out right with Sting. Like, I don't feel like Sting's match was overshadowed by how great the Will Ospreay Konosuke Kateska match was. And that was AEW Revolution.
All right. Getting to Monday Night Raws, we got like 25 something minutes left.
Let's do it. We'll try to zip through the week shows.
All right. So Monday Night Raw start off with Cody Rhodes, because Raw's always be starting off with Cody Rhodes. He basically talked about how The Rock talked to him and said he needed to make it should be him and Reigns. Rock said, but fans said something different. Seth Rollins comes out looking like a goddamn unripe banana with all that green on he had. Said he's been medically cleared. So he said he would have Cody's back when it comes to if he decide to make that decision to accept that challenge with that The Rock issued. Now, this is the one part that wasn't there. He said, now I got your back. I need to know, do you have mine? Still teasing that little tension that them two got, 'cause they still got a little tension between them. Next, we get Dominic Mysterio versus Gunter. This match was so funny. When I said Gunter literally chopped the holy hell out of Dominic Mysterio, bro. It was just chops, and more chops. Of course, you know Gunter's going to get the win here. Dominic had a couple moments. I mean, he had a nice 619. He tried to out-chop Gunter for some weird reason. I don't know why. Didn't go well for him. But Gunter avoided the frog splash, hits this nice drop kick, then power bomb to the Boston crowd, basically finishes Dominic at 10 minutes. Excuse me. Next, Damage Control comes. Shinsuke Nakamura is here. Nakamura wants her Intercontinental title shot. Next, we get Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Starks and Baszler get the win here at 7 minutes after roll up. Dakota Kai says that Baszler and Stark can have a title shot next week. Judgment Day chase with Dominic Mysterio. Gunter says he's going to. With Priest saying he's going to make things right with Gunter. Andrade pops in to check on Dominic. We get Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. Was a normal match you expect. The crux of this story is the simple fact that Liv Morgan came out here and jumped Nia Jax for the DQ. Then Ricochet said he wants an Intercontinental title shot. JD said he wants a title shot. We get a little back and forth between Becky and Liv. And the match is made the next week. Then we get a video on Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso talking about their history. Pierce announces a gauntlet match. Sami Zayn versus Ricochet versus Gale versus Bronson Reed versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus JD Madonna. Next we get Andrade versus Apollo Crews, who is back. Spinning elbow, running knees, hammerlock DDT. They call it La Zambra. Finish Crews at 3 minutes. We get an in memory of Butcher, Vashon. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae said they want a tag team shot. The talent ticket, and I think it's time they get one. Ivy Nilla and Maxine Dupree said it'll be okay. And LeRae isn't impressed, but Hartwell said she'll deal with it. Next we get Judgment Day versus Imperium. This is a non-title match. Get to the end of this match. Comes with Broken arrow on Kaiser, but he escapes the razor edge. Balor comes back for a sling blade. Kaiser with a Death Valley driver. Sling blade drop Vinci. Coup de grace for a 2. Kaiser breaks it up. Priest comes back with a clothesline. Top of heaven for the win at 14 minutes. Drew McIntyre calls himself a Rise Spotlight Junkie. Next we get Sami Zayn versus Ivar. Ivar missed the Doom's Day moonsault, and it turned into a haluva kick for a win for Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed crushes Sami Zayn at the end of the match with the tsunami. Gunther basically said he's ready to take on all challenges because the title is that much more prestigious. Our main event is Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Solid match. Solid match here. McIntyre win for Claymore to build up McIntyre's resume and his momentum for when he goes into this match with Seth. In the match, Seth Rollins comes to chase off McIntyre because he's still beating down Jey Uso. McIntyre yells him to stop being selfish, and that's the end of Monday Night Raw. And then getting the NXT, which was Roadblocks, which not an NXT pay-per-view. It's one of those Tuesday shows that they have a name for it. Start with Dijak and Joe Gacy. This is an Asylum match, which means cage with weapons and pinfall and submission only. After what's named this match was a little better than I thought. It was a lot of crazy stuff. Gacy bringing the fire extinguishers. They had a Casey Jones cricket bat. I don't know nothing about that. Basically, we get a spot where Joe Gacy has a table that has a bunch of smiley stickers on it because that's like his new thing now. Gacy gets blinded. He does the duct tape spot again when he wraps the duct tape over his face. Gacy hits a swinging rock bottom, but Dijak whacks him with a kendo stick. Feast your eyes. Dijak gets the win at 12 minutes. They beat the heck out of each other. The fans is buying to Gacy's thing, as long as he don't talk. I think that makes him much more better. Next, we get our tag team title shot. Chase U, Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin. We all know who won this match. Corbin and Breaker at 11 minutes. We knew they wasn't going to win this match. Next, we get Sean Spears versus Uriah Connors. Are you ready for our favorite game?
Yep.
Guess that squash.
That gives them cheese music. 1 minute 18 seconds.
You was off by 1:16.
Fuck.
Spears talk about how the crowd said to be forced to be what you want instead of what you want to be. He basically is going back and forth with Ridge Holland. Dragunov said it don't matter who he's facing. Don't care if it's D'Angelo or Hayes. He said he'll be ready. Tag team title match, Kabuki Warrior versus Lara Valkyria and Tatum Paxley. We all know the match here. We know who won this match with the Kabuki Warriors. The main thing of this match is Roxanne Perez attacked Valkyria, snapping her arm over the turnbuckle a la Shayna Baszler. You hear her literally screaming out, you're like, it popped out of socket. Like, what's the name? Fallon Haley versus Blair Davenport. Fallon Haley gets the win with Shining Wizard thanks to Sol Ruco, who is back. One of the best finisher names ever, the Soul Snatcher. I don't care, nobody said that's a raw name for a finisher. And it plays off your name. So it ain't like you're like trying to be fancy with it. Next we get the No Quarter Catch crew. Your boy Drew Gulak.
Gabagool.
Talks about Charlie Dempsey's win. Damon Kemp said that the catch told me they would constantly defend the cup. They're also in the tag team tournament, but guess who interrupts? Charlie Dempsey's daddy. What Regal? He basically said it represents all of the British and European wrestlers who came before him. Dempsey said, I will defend this title better than you ever could. He basically just said, I'll be watching. Main event, Tony D'Angelo versus Carmelo Hayes here. Great match here between these two. I'm going to get to the end because Hayes grabbed the first 48 for 2. Trick Will music plays. Hayes gets distracted. D'Angelo hits the forget about it. And gets the win. He apologized and said, "I'm sorry. I played Trick Williams music. And he like, but look though, he like, I got a surprise for you though. Guess what that surprise is? Booker T get to go back to saying, yeah, Cause Trick Williams actually comes out, runs off Carmelo Hayes for the end of NXT, and that was the end of NXT.
Alrighty. Well, let's get over here to AEW Dynamite. So Dynamite starts off. They have a new logo, new entrance ramp and stuff.
I like it.
I like it too. Tony Schiavone brings out Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana. Swerve talks about how he came up short in his house on Sunday. That isn't cool with him because he remembers signing with AEW about 2 years ago on the day of Revolution 2022 in Orlando, Florida. Strickland was going to give it his all, but he stands with no gold. Maybe he's paying for all the bad things he's done around there. Maybe he isn't supposed to be champion. Maybe he isn't supposed to be a role player. But then the reactions he's been receiving from people, even who flew in from his home state of Washington to see him. Whether Samoa Joe is still world champion or not, Swerve said he's coming for the title because it's Swerve's house. Cue Samoa Joe to come down like he was ready for a fight. He says he thinks Swerve is talking funny after that beating he received at Revolution because here we are in Swerve's house, but that house is in Joe's world. This cues Adam Cole to come out, talk about how great his team did at Revolution. And in a few months, no one's going to remember Swerve's name anyway. The one person that matters is Wardlow, who's going to win the world title and bring it back where it belongs to himself, which he's speaking of. Swerve calls out Cole, going to the back of the line over and over. If he needs extra client, he has Britt Baker's phone number in his pocket. Cole doesn't like how he's being treated, so they're going to do Swerve and Joe versus the Kingdom next weekend. It says, fuck that. Tony Khan says, y'all doing that right now. So the opening match is the Kingdom, which is just Taven and Bennett versus Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. This match did not take too long. The Kingdom was getting their ass kicked for a while before they finally got an upper hand in this one. To get back in with Swerve, getting a tag in a clean house. Joe not being pleased with anything that's happening. Swerve hits a Swerve stomp to Bennett. Blair's over at Joe, who still isn't happy. House call sets up the JML driver for the finish on Bennett, 6 minutes and 54 seconds. Swerve's pissed off at the whole. Samoa Joe's pissed off at the whole thing. Post match, Wardlow comes down to stare at Swerve, which is just enough distraction for Joe to go and choke him out. Chris Jericho interrupts Hook and talks about Taz dropping him on his head in his first match. He says he sees talent in Hook. Basically just shakes his hand. So we'll see if he's now sucked into Jericho's orbit. We'll see what happens from there. Young Bucks do a parody of Tony Khan. They said they have two huge announcements, so they'll make them later tonight. FCW title match, Hook versus Brian Cage. I don't know why they keep doing this when we know that Hook's not losing that belt, at least not to Brian Cage. Either way, as I said, Hook retains again. This time he slaps on the red rum on Cage. Cage is back into a corner, which doesn't work, and eventually he passes out 10 minutes and 6 seconds. Post-match, Gates Agnew come in and beat down Hook. Jericho comes down to make the save. Into his orbit, I told you. They're going to have a new tag team tournament to crown new champions after the Sting match. Orange Cassidy, he wants another title. So I guess they're going to jump in the tag team title tournament. Chuck hasn't been cleared yet, so I'm assuming it's him and Trent, which still leading to the suspicion that Trent may turn. We'll see what happens there. Kill Switch versus Matt Menard is next. Time for our favorite game.
Oh, not Matt Menard. Not Matt Menard.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
Yes. Say 132.
He's being chalked in the dad role for a while. You said 132? I didn't want to do it on the table and fuck something up. You are off by 22 seconds.
Oh, wow.
156. It just met under the 2-minute threshold. So
I apologize, Menard.
Menard,
I should have gave you more credit.
he was fighting. Our favorite cokehead is fighting for. He's not really. He just seems like it. He's less cokey now, but when he was with the Jericho Appreciation Society, he was full coke. Menard is fighting for revenge after Revolution, and Christian Cage is on commentary. A bunch of right hands in various corner rock Luchasaurus. Some clotheslines put him to one knee that doesn't last long. He's back up with a choke slam and a running clothesline to finish off Menard. Post-match, Daniel Garcia runs into the brawl. Nick Wayne runs into him and takes him out. The villains go to leave, but Adam Copeland comes back out of nowhere and jumps to patriarchy. Mother Wayne goes for a low blow, but he gets blocked. Copeland chases Cage into the crowd. They follow him. They go into the tech area, into the back. Cage running to a parked car where he just runs off and escapes, but he's holding the title through the sunroof as he drives off. Cage issues a challenge to him in an I Quit match for the title in 2 weeks in Toronto. Kyle Riley's happy to be back and he's medically cleared. That's really all you get out of the backstage interview with him. Next up, the Bucks come down to the ring for their announcement with Tony Schiavone. He brings up their loss. They aren't happy with Sting's sons, who are 6'8" and 305 pounds, because they cheated. They weren't that damn big. The Bucks are going to get their tag team titles back, but first they have to take care of some things. First of all, Hangman, for putting your hands on an official. You have been suspended indefinitely. Second other item, Kenny Omega, who has he has no show for various dates for no reason. Though we know he's hurt, but that's their thought. They said he's fired from the Elite, not AEW, from the Elite. Eddie Kingston comes down. I guess he has a problem with how they've been acting recently. He has something to say about it. They start to fight with a low blow, cutting Kingston off. All of a sudden, you hear, you get the coin drop. Okada makes his AEW debut. Okada runs down. Seems like he's got Kingston's back. For a second, Kingston turns his back to Okada. Okada grabs the back of them draws and sets up that Rainmaker. Hits a mean Rainmaker on him, laying him down because now Okada is elite. They announced that for sure. And this was interesting. I liked bringing him in as a heel. It's an interesting spot to put him in, because I don't think I've ever seen him as a heel before. So let's see where this goes from there. Next up, Chris Statlander versus Riho. This is her second match back in the company. She had a match, I believe, on Rampage last week. No, I'm sorry. She has another match coming up this week. It's on Collision. This was her first match back in the company. Anyway, Stokely Hathaway was here at ringside, getting close to the end of the match. Statlander tries to go for a powerbomb, gets a hurricane into a 619. Rio hits a high cross body. It doesn't work, so she grabs the dragon suplex for 2. Statlander knocks her down again, so Hathaway throws a chain in, which this time Statlander drops it onto the floor. Some hard suplexes rock Rio, but she grabs a victory roll for the victory in 9 minutes, 21 seconds. Like you were talking about, giving her flowers, right? Toni Storm's here. She's happy that she retained her title. And then she decides to present Mariah May with her first shirt. And she makes sure she's getting a cut. Willow Nightingale is ready to face Riho next week because she wants to be a champion herself. It says she's coming for the CBS title. Next up, Darby Allin is out to talk about Sting's retirement match. He has Jay White next week, and then in 3 weeks, he's off to climb Mount Everest. He's not sure if he's going to be coming back alive next week, so he's going out with the fight of his life. Allin lays down the tag team title belt and congratulates whoever holds them next. Here comes the Bang Bang Gang to come out and talk shit. Jay White talks about how Allen's been doing some great things, but warns him about what's going to happen if they get into the ring. Instead of a match, how about Allin comes and hang with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. We can even call him Darby Scissorhands. Allin doesn't want to hear it and says White should climb Everest too. He'll see White next week. Julia Hart issues an open challenge for Rampage. House of Black talks down on Mark Briscoe and how they're going to try to burn him alive and make 3 grades for whoever comes to help him. Mark Briscoe said he isn't scared. He says they should have an Atlanta street fight. Some sort of street fight for wherever they're going to be next week. I forgot the exact location. Or it's in Boston because that's the big business show. But he gave it a name for the street fight. I think he said like an Atlanta street fight or something like that, even though they're not going to be in Atlanta. Give some name to the street fight. Then we have our main event. So Will Ospreay manages to be in the company for a week and a half officially and earns himself another 5-star. So he's had officially 4 matches with the company, 3 of which are 5-star. I'm assuming the Jericho match wasn't 5-star, but the Omega match and the last 2 he had definitely were. This man is just dropping gems on you out here, man. Non-title match in this one because Kyle Fletcher is the TV champion. Come out sporting a little bit of a new look with the full blonde hair. I thought that they played with each other well enough at first, like, oh, you know, we're cool, that's my boy. And I feel like Kyle Fletcher took it up a notch, playing it more heel here. But Will Ospreay matched him blow for blow. This match went 9 minutes, 57 seconds. Eventually, they chop it out at the end. Ospreay getting the better of things. Don't even have Cutter countered. The powerbomb is countered, and the powerbomb is countered. That is countered into a DDT to plant Fletcher, but he ducked the hidden blade. A middle rope snake eyes on Ospreay, but he's back with the cutter off the apron. Eventually, they get back in. Ospreay plants him one more time. Then, as he's about to finish him off, he does the Jericho, where Jericho before he flicked him off, before he hit the hidden blade. Fletcher knew it was coming once he got planted. And he kicked out a lot of close-ass 2 counts there at the end, but eventually was just like, come on. He took it right to the face. Hidden blade finishes him off. Ospreay wins. It went 19 minutes, 23 seconds. The break spot where he hit the Oscutter on the outside on the apron was at 9 minutes and 57 seconds into the match. But yeah, Hidden blade finishes him off, 19 minutes, 23 seconds. Post-match, and this is literally as the show is going to black, Bryan Danielson comes down. So I guess they have a feud coming up or something like that because they stared off with each other as the show ends. And that was the end of AEW Dynamite.
All right, go to SmackDown real quick, so this is the shorter show. Starts off with Logan Paul. We mentioned the fact about that how Light Prime is going to be like one of what's the name for WWE. Get to the end of this, KSI's come out there because you know he is co-founder with Logan Paul. But all that leads to him is just him getting RKO'd on top of his own logo and getting this drink poured on him before Randy Orton tastes it. Say, that was good stuff, and then pours it on KSI. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. End of this match was a nice spot. A pop-up RKO for the win. This match wasn't really like, it was just a fun match. It's like after that, Logan Paul jumps him. Sit down interview with Bayley. She said that she's hanging on by a thread. Basically, she really ain't saying like she ain't really got like no friends or nothing by herself. Naomi said she feel bad. Bianca said I don't. She got everything that's coming to her. Karen Cross versus Bobby Lashley. AOP run in to jump Lashley for the DQ at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Street Profits come and make the save. Tiffany Stratton versus Michin. 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Stratton gets the win. We get a video about AJ Styles at LA Knight. He said he's going to beat some respect in the night. We get Angel versus Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee gets the win here at 7 minutes and 16 seconds. Then we get to the end of the show, which basically like was the whole team, the Bloodline and The Rock. Short part of this right there, so we can cut it for time. Couple stuff around from here. Seth Rock looked like a star. The suit he literally was wearing was literally just to troll The Rock. The Rock constantly kept calling him a walking clown emoji. The end part was he basically said like, look, he said, he's like your daddy. Your daddy, the Hall of Famer. He's like, is it true that your sister was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys? Cody's like, yeah. Is it true that your brother is a Hall of Famer, a potential Hall of Famer? He's like, yeah. He's like, is it true that you're the youngest out your family by 20 years? He's like, yeah. Yeah, he was like, the reason you're the youngest is because you was a mistake. Steak. And then Cody proceeds to smack the holy shit out of The Rock. He got his smack back. But Seth Rollins was the star of this one. He had my moment of the night when he said, listen here, Mr. Midlife Crisis. He's like, you had your time. You can't come here and take ours. Take ours. Like, so that segment made Seth Rollins, it did its job. It made Seth Rollins look strong, so it don't like he's forgotten in all this. He announced the fact that, like, you got Seth making decisions for you, everything like that, and he talked about how, like, the Rock's a sellout for bowing down, acknowledging him. So that was the end of SmackDown. Out.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the last show of the week so we can get out of here. Let's get into Rampage. All right, on Rampage, Jericho back on commentary for this one. Match number 1, Kip Sabian and the Butcher taking on Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta.
He still wrestles?
Oh, Kip? Yeah. He's only on the minor shows right now, though. 12 minutes this match went. Getting down to the end of the match, Beretta hit a Sadio suplex and looks for another cover. Sabian kicks out. Butcher comes in with a pump handle throw. As Sabian pulls a move off from the top rope, another near fall for Sabian. Another near fall for Sabian after a double stomp. Butcher gets tagged as Trent pulls off a German suplex. Cassidy with the orange punch as Trent pulls off the strong zero to get the victory. Match number 2, TBS Championship match. Julia Hart taking on Robin Renegade. This match went 2 minutes. Julia Hart retains. I'm not even going to waste time getting into it because it really wasn't that much to get into. It was a squash match. Third match on the show. Action Andretti. Finally without the fucking water bottle. My Hydra homies. Takes on Penta Air Zero Mato. They gave this match 11 minutes. Can't wait till Ray Phoenix is back. Not shitting on Penta when I say that. Just seeing Penta makes me think of his brother, and I love his brother so much. Anyway, this match was pretty much Penta all the way. Andretti got some stuff off. And it was actually a decent match for Rampage. Can't hate on it all that much. Towards the end of the match, Penta's looking for the fear factor, gets reversed. Andretti hits him with the poison rhino for a near fall. Andretti taking it to the sky again, looking for a corkscrew attack, but Penta kicked him off. Followed one of the best fear factors you'll see, and gets the victory. Main event: Private Party versus Brian Keith and Commander versus Top Flight. As we get the big push for Top Flight continuing here with their mini feud with Private Party. We'll see where that grows into. So on this one, getting towards the end of the match, Dante catches Isaiah with a kick to the head, followed by a double DDT on Private Party for a near fall. Commander attacks himself in and drops Dante. Private Party sets him up for a stun gun off the ropes. Dante with a clothesline on Mark Quinn as he tries to get a near pinfall on Commander. As the kick out happens, Dante super kicks Keith out of the ring. Darius hits Commander with a modified X Factor to pick up the victory. Top Flight wins, continuing their recent push since he's come back from injury. And that was Rampage, and that was this week's episode of Hot Tag Wrestle Corner. So, for one half your host, I am Rob.
I'm Clint, and we will have laughs because we are talking about Buck Bagwell. I need all the stories.
And here's also Ryan Simmons to send us home.